morning guys, it's Charisma here, and today we are going to be talking about basically everything you're going to need to know as a first-time service dog handler going to Disneyland's reopening. Even if you're not a first-time handler, there are some new details that have come out regarding Disneyland's opening that are going to be a bit different than the process used to be pre-COVID, so there's definitely some good information, whether it's going to be your first time going to Disneyland with your service dog or your 100th time going to Disneyland with your service dog. Well, hi! Okay, good night. There's my Red. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, you're such a sweet baby. You're so sweet. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. You're sweet baby. So in today's video, we've got a lot to talk about. We are going to be talking about disability passes. We are going to be talking about crates. We're going to be talking about potty spots. We're going to be talking about the parking situation because that is very, very important. It's going to be very different for service dog handlers, people with disabilities in general. Very, very important information regarding that. It took a lot of effort to figure out this information. It's not readily available on any of their sites, so definitely stay tuned for that. And I'm also going to be talking about security with service dog in general. If you've been to Downtown Disney, it's going to be kind of the same process, but if you've never been, then we're going to talk about that as well. First thing we're going to talk about today is DAS Pass. So what is a DAS Pass? A DAS Pass is the park's disability access services. So these passes allow people with disabilities that have issues with standing in long lines. It's an alternate waiting option, if that makes sense. You don't get to just skip the lines. Say the line for a ride is currently 30 minutes. You're still going to have to wait that 30 minutes. However, with the DAS system, you're allowed to wait that 30 minutes outside of the line. So you can go sit in the shade, you can go eat food, you can go rest, you can take your service dog to go potty, all of those things. That's really great for people like me who can't stand for long periods of time, people with heat intolerances, things like that. So with the DAS, you will either receive your DAS via the guest relations at City Hall, or there are booths scattered throughout the parks where you can also receive your DAS pass. In my personal experience, if you have an invisible disability, you are better off going directly to a booth for your pass as opposed to guest relations at City Hall. They're a little bit stingier about giving out the DAS at City Hall than they are at the actual booths. Again, that's just my experience. I know some people have had different experiences, but that's just it. So with the DAS pass, you're gonna go to these booths. I'll try to insert a photo of one of them if I have one, just to kind of show you what they look like. And you're gonna go to the booth, you're gonna basically just tell them, hey, I need to sign up for a DAS pass. They're gonna basically just ask you why you're unable to wait in the actual lines. Give them your reason, and if you qualify, then you're gonna be given a DAS pass. It's gonna go directly onto your actual pass or ticket now, and it's good for 60 days. After 60 days, you will have to renew it, but it's the same process. It's not a huge deal. So then with that, you will be able to get return times for rides. You can get those return times at the booth, and you can also get them at the rides themselves. You're just gonna go to the ride, go to the booth, whatever, ask them what the wait is for a certain ride, ask for a return time for that ride. You'll be given your return time, and especially if you have your tickets through the app, it's a lot easier to remember because it should show up on the app for you what the time is, and you can go do your thing. You can take your time walking over to that ride. You can, like I said, go take a break, go eat, whatever you would like, and then you just have to be back at that ride within, I want to say, like an hour of your return time. So yeah, it's a really easy process. Each ride is a bit different in terms of where you're going to return because of the service dogs, especially. Certain rides you're going to actually have to go through the exit because that's where the crates are going to be. I'm going to talk about that a little more later. Typically though, if you go just to the entrance of the ride, let them know you have a DAS pass. If you're going to have to go through the exit instead of the main entrance, they'll just let you know that there, and they'll direct you to the exit. A lot of the times you end up just going through the regular Fastpass line or through the exit like I mentioned, and it's really, really nice. You will still have to wait in the line for a little bit. They typically say that with the DAS system, you'll have to wait
a maximum of 10 minutes, but it really depends. Sometimes you go right on, sometimes you're waiting for a little bit. It just really depends on how busy it is. Since the parks are not opening to capacity, from what I've heard from cast members who were there for the cast member opening days, you should be able to get right on. The wait times are not bad at all. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the parking situation, because it's not great, unfortunately. I had a cast member that was there on opening day, like I said, and I was able to call them while they were at a city hall and talk to the guest relations people about the parking situation, ask a lot of questions for you guys. The only parking that's going to be available for Disneyland goers is going to be the Mickey and Friends parking structure. Typically with the Mickey and Friends parking structure, there is a tram that takes you to the parks. However, the tram is not available. The Mickey van, which is usually allotted for people with disabilities, is also not going to be available. So Disney's basically just having people walk the tram route from the Mickey and Friends parking structure, which sucks if you have physical disabilities especially. I know from what I heard there are a lot of benches along the way to rest. However, it is a very long walk to both start and especially end of the day. Security was also insanely long. Everybody that's parking in the Mickey and Friends parking structure is being filtered into one specific temperature check and security area. So the line was insane. It was all the way down on the main tram entrance lot and then all the way up through the parking structure as well. Based on what I was told, that wait alone is going to be at least an hour. The other option we were given by guest relations, and the one she recommended, is to be dropped off on the harbor side. The harbor side is typically where like the shuttles would drop you off, where Uber is able to drop you off, where family is able to drop you off, and the security and temperature check on the harbor side is predicted to be way less busy. It was for cast members and is most likely going to be on the opening days as well. You can find parking nearby and Uber the rest of the way. You can get dropped off. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can take the bus. If you do decide to walk the tram route, they do have the wheelchair rental services available at the Mickey and Friends lot. It's going to be on the ground level by where the walk starts, if I'm not mistaken. So that is available. They did unfortunately up the prices for wheelchair rentals to $35 a day. I believe you do still get back some of that money if it's like a deposit, and then once the wheelchair is returned, you get a portion of it back to you. I don't know how much that amount is anymore, but I do know it was raised from around $20 to $25 to now $35. Options are not great, but you know, what are you gonna do? All right, so regarding service dogs and security. So if you've ever been to Downtown Disney, it's gonna be the same process. If you're going through the Mickey and Friends lot, it's gonna be at the location where the trams usually are loaded and unloaded. And then if you're coming from the harbor side, they're where they've always been, just over by that area. So regarding security, you're gonna go through a temperature check, and your whole party does have to stay together through one lane. Don't split up. You're gonna be stopped because of the security dogs. They don't have you walk through the tents where the security dogs are, for safety reasons. I don't know exactly how it's gonna be in the other locations, because usually we go through the same location to go to Downtown Disney. However, there's usually like an umbrella you're gonna walk off to the side to. They'll probably give you all this information when you get there. If they don't, just ask before you go through temp check or right after temp check. If you just kind of stand off to the side, they should notice you and they're gonna know that you're trying to go through the other way, especially if you do have your service dog with you. And they're gonna ask you the questions either there or before you even get to temperature check. It's gonna be varied a little bit. It's usually when you stand off to the side before you pass outside of the security dog tents. They're gonna just ask you the two questions: is that a service dog required for a disability, and what tasks are they trained to perform? Once you answer those, you get on through. You're gonna go straight to security. You're gonna go through bag check and the metal detectors, and that's pretty much it. It's a pretty easy process. It's a little nerve-wracking the first few times, but I promise it's not as scary as it seems. All right, next topic is going to be the crate system. Any ride that does not have a height requirement, meaning any ride that a young child can ride, your service dog can ride. So that's going to be like dark rides such as Haunted Mansion, Little Mermaid, Small World, anything like that that's very chill and low-key, your service dog can ride. They do have to be tucked at your feet. They cannot be on the seats, and they can be sitting, but certain rides, it's not super safe. They can also ride rides like Pirates of the Caribbean. However, that's a little more intense. And if you're not comfortable with your service dog riding those type of rides, you will have to utilize a rider swap system. So the rider swap system is basically how it works for like a child swap. Basically, it's going to be the same system for your service dog. You have somebody in your party wait off the ride with your dog. You go on the ride, you get off, you take your dog again, and that person's able to go on the ride after you. That's your option for rides that don't have crates. However, anything that does have a high requirement will have a crate available. Some rides have multiple crates available, others only have one. You will not ever have your dog crated with another dog that is not in your party. So sometimes if you get to a ride and there is a service dog already in the crate, you will have to wait for those people to return. That typically doesn't happen super often. We've only had that happen a few times, and usually it's not a super long wait, only because the other people are also using the best system typically. So they're gonna go on pretty fast, and then by the time they return, you're able to go on as well. They do clean the crates between every use, which is really nice. All right, the next topic we're gonna talk about is potty areas. So Disneyland has quite a few potty areas scattered throughout the park. They are labeled on the map. However, California Adventure side is a little more limited. There are not nearly as many potty spots. Some of them are not the best either. If your dog is picky and will really only go to the bathroom on grass, you may be a little challenged when you go over to the California Adventure side, only because a lot of those are just dirt and bushes. So definitely make mental note of where all the potty spots are. If you are going to be doing a park hopper, I definitely recommend utilizing the potty spots on the Disneyland side before you go over to California Adventure, if your dog is a little bit picky on where they're going to go use the bathroom. Because some of the potty spots are a bit more spread out, we have been told by multiple cast members in the past that anywhere with a gate that opens and isn't locked and has grass, you are able to use as a potty spot. Now, keep in mind, there are going to be some cast members that, are saying, oh, there's only labeled and marked potty spots. However, typically when we've just let them know that, we've been told we can use any of the spots, they'll typically let us be. You just need to make sure you clean up after the dogs. Be really good about that, because the only reason they're so lenient with us is because most of us teams do a very good job of cleaning up after them. If people start leaving messes behind, they're not going to be as forgiving. So that's about all I have that I wanted to talk about today. Just some couple extra things. If you are going to be returning to the parks this summer, please bring booties for your dogs. Bring lots and lots of water. It does get very hot at the parks. Take lots and lots of breaks. From what I did hear, there are a lot of benches available for people to rest and sit down and eat, so definitely do that. Another thing I recommend if you do plan to be at the parks late is to bring lights for your dog. This is just a little extra precaution. It's dark, people aren't always watching where they're going. It can become a safety hazard if your dog is not visible. You don't want them getting hit by anything, you don't want them getting stepped on, you don't want them getting run over. So definitely recommend having at least one little clip-on light on your dog. I know for Ridley, she actually has a light-up collar, and she also has clips on her vest as well. Another thing, if you haven't been to the parks before or Downtown Disney as of late, you are not able to drink and eat as you're walking. You do have to sit down. So if you're somebody like me that has to drink water really often, definitely keep that in mind. You're gonna have to stop quite often and kind of move off to the side from the main walkways to just have a quick sip of water. You're not gonna be able to do that when you're in line in close proximity with other people. They're gonna stop you. They're pretty on it. So just keep that in mind. One other thing I want to mention, especially if you are a team that's going to Disneyland for the very first time with your dog, is the animals. There are horses in Disneyland that pull the trolley through Main Street. They're going to do a roundabout through the main square at the front, and then they go all the way down Main Street, and then they do a roundabout in front of the castle as well. Please make sure your dog is good around horses. Very important. You need to be respectful of the horses. Do not get too close to them. From what I've seen, they're good around the dogs. However, be respectful, give them their space. They are very large animals. They're just trying to do their job, just like your dog is. So be respectful of them, give them their space. Another animal I want to warn everybody about is the ducks. Disneyland is usually full of ducks. Sometimes there's mama ducks with their babies. So again, just be respectful, give them space. The ducks are not usually scared of the dogs, meaning if you're walking and you see a duck coming, don't expect them to move. If you're banking on that duck moving out of the way for you and your dog, they're probably not going to. They're very used to people. They're very used to being around service dogs at the parks. They're very used to being around horses at the parks. The ducks are pretty bold. I've had ducks try and go after my dog before. So Just give the ducks their space, let them be, make sure your dog is able to ignore them, especially with the mamas and the babies. So that is going to be it for today's video. I really hope all of this was helpful for you guys. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me either through the comments or through Instagram DM. Hi! Sneaker, are you excited for Disney? Are you excited to go back to Disney? We're really excited to be going back. We definitely have some new videos that are going to be coming. I will definitely try my best to also film the entire DAS system for you guys. So keep an eye out for a second part to this video, just all about the actual DAS system itself and getting to show you guys firsthand how it works. Hi. I wish everybody the best luck at the parks. Please stay safe, wear a mask, use your hand sanitizer, wash your hands, social distance. Just, do your part while you're there. The only reason we're able to go back is because Disney's taking all the proper precautions, and it's our responsibility to also take those precautions while we're there. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like below and subscribe, because we're gonna have a lot of new videos coming. And yeah, we're just really excited. Very nervous, but very excited at the same time. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. Bye bye.